Peace. In the very near future, I will have this podcast up and running. Talk to a couple people about it. And when I say couple, I mean a very small few. And it's what I want to do. And not even because, like, I want some, like, notoriety or because, you know, I feel like I'm that important, right? I feel like it's necessary because the stuff that I'm looking at, the stuff that I'm listening to, the stuff that other people are listening to and looking at, I realize it ain't about shit. Like, people spend so much time worrying about all the wrong shit. Like, it's not even close to anything worthwhile. I understand you wanting to do something for entertainment purposes, but when you don't have, like, any primary focus on anything substantial or worthwhile, so what is your point? What is your existence at that point? Like, what's your purpose? I don't get it. And then, like, to hear other people's thoughts. One of the things that, to me, is sometimes cringeworthy, and it's probably more often than it should be, is when I hear other people talk. That sounded bad. But, I mean, that's really what it is. So, I hear other people's thoughts on something. So, one of my favorite things to do right now in the morning, since I'm up at, like, god-awful hour, I listen to Kenny Smooth in the morning, Kenny Smooth morning show in Nashville. And, you know, people call in, and I'm all for the call in. I've called in plenty of times myself. My grudge, if I had one, would be, like, if you're going to call in, try to have whatever it was you're going to say, like, try to have that planned out just a tad bit. And, I mean, being able to enunciate would help. Having, like, a clear, you know, complete sentence, that's always a good thing. But, woo, sometimes it's bad. And I try to force myself. That's when I knew it was bad. When I forced myself not to turn off the radio. Because as soon as I hear some shit and I'm like, yo, this is about to be not smart, I'll just hurry up and turn my shit off. I won't even listen. But I feel like it's possible for the next stages that I'm going to be in, I may find myself in positions where I'm going to have to hear some stuff from people or hear some stuff just in general that I don't necessarily agree with and or think is intelligent or worth the time that's going to take to listen to it. But with that being said, I could miss out on something. So I need to go ahead and get accustomed to listening to it even if I don't feel like it. I mean, kind of like, you know, people do with their kids, kind of like wives do with their husbands, like that kind of wrong. So anyways, well, oftentimes, like, I'm listening to other things and I hear people's thoughts that they make, you know, known to others. And every time I think that I can't be shocked by people, I'm like, there's nothing that they can say or do that I'll be shocked by. And then, like, I'll hear something and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And obviously my response is out of shock. So obviously I'm shocked by, you know, whatever the dumb shit was I just heard. Like, one of the kickers for me typically is black people who were raised in the United States, who are shocked by racism or who have issue with identifying, like, hey, these things are really happening and people don't seem to care, particularly, like, other races don't seem to care. Like, fam, don't nobody give a fuck about you. Like, nah, at all. In fact, like, you not being around, you not existing, while simultaneously being probably one of the most detrimental things to the world, is also the most sought thing from the world. So funny how that works out, right? So, like, your culture and everything about you actually enhances the experience for everybody else on the entire fucking planet. With that being said, because of that, because of other things, they absolutely hate your ass and don't want you around in any shape, form, or capacity. So they much rather have all the stuff that is you with the exception of you, which is why other cultures and other people who do the shit that we do are loved and exalted in such a high manner, and then us doing what we do, they somehow try to not. So if you don't believe me, that's cool. Just go ahead and take some time to do some research, and you figure the shit out when you get home. So those are the kind of things that kind of like fuck with me, man. And so as much as stuff like that bothers me, and then I get a chance to look in here and listen to other people, and motherfuckers don't talk about it. They don't call a spade a spade. Earlier today, listening to the Kenny Smooth Morning Show, and they were talking about, I think it was like a call in, it was a letter, I think. A guy lost a whole bunch of weight and had a concern or wanted to know, should he leave his wife? Because his wife was big, like he was big, but he lost weight. Now he's making changes in life, and now he's like, well, damn, what should I do with my wife? And his partners was telling him, go ahead and leave her, go do you. Women that he know were like, no, talk to her and try to, help her out, Again, so even after I heard it, I was like, this ain't no, like, hard decision. Like, however you was raised to believe in marriage, cool, that's arguable, but I ain't gonna argue it. I just talk about the facts, right? So the fact is, marriage ain't forever. Like, that's a fact. Like, you can put a stamp on it, boom, fact stamp right there. Marriage ain't forever. And to my knowledge, in regards to like the industrialized world, the United States leads the world in so many statistics. Most of them resolve around like murder, death, but death of a marriage. So divorce, the United States is the leader in divorce, to my knowledge. I could be wrong, doubt it, but to my knowledge, yeah. So like, marriage ain't forever. Motherfuckers get divorced every day, B. It ain't nothing. With that being said, though, for the people who stay in marriages, and this is the thing that people don't talk about, which I feel like is bullshit, because they set people up for failure. If you're going to be in a marriage, like, being in a marriage is a everyday job. And I don't mean job like hard, but I mean job from the standpoint of like the same way you have to make a decision to get up and go do this thing day in, day out. That's what you have to do about your marriage. Like, you have to decide every day to stay there, to be in it, to be involved, to be the best version of you in the marriage, so on and so forth. Like, this a daily, hourly decision of how you're going to carry yourself in a marriage. But people don't talk about this shit. Like, people act like, oh, if you get married, that's it, and you just in that motherfucker forever. Nah, fam, that shit ain't real. Like, you setting people up on some like ball and chain type shit instead of being real and honest, factual with a person. Which, I mean, that shit is crazy to me. You can leave a marriage anytime you fucking want. I mean, there's consequences and repercussions to it, yeah, but you could, in theory, leave whenever you wanted to. But those decisions that, some of your elders made, some of your family members made, where people was married, 30, 40, 50 fucking years, people been married longer than you've been alive, like, that is every day, every moment. Like, I'm here. I'm going to be in this thing. And that sure didn't mean that every day was good. Hopefully more days were, good than they weren't bad, but it's decision making. And I feel like, with what I'm going to do in the upcoming future, is to put things on the table, make them as plain as possible, because I think plain is good for quite a few people. And we'll see what happens, man. I'm convinced between, podcasts and the book, I may reach about 2-3 people. But, there's 2 or 3 more than I did previously. And any influence, any impact you can have on somebody, you never know what the reverberations could be throughout history. So I'm all for it, man. Whether it's 2 to 3 or 2 to 3 million. I'm good.